The scourge of Spider-Man.
Brilliant but lazy.
Dr. Octopus is the best Spider-Man villain. He is Spider-Man's nemesis. There's no way around it. People are going to tell you Venom or Green Goblin are also in the running for Spider-Man's nemesis, but they would be incorrect. They're in the running, sure, but there's literally one clear-cut favorite. It's Doc Ock. Dr. Octopus is the nemesis for Spider-Man. When you go over what Doc Ock was able to do to Spider-Man over the years consistently, compared to Green Goblin or Venom, or really any other Spider-Man villain, it's no contest why Doc Ock is Spider-Man's ultimate big bad. And in this video, I'm gonna go over and convince all of you who are non-believers that Doc Ock is in fact Spider-Man's big bad. He is Spider-Man's nemesis. But before I get into all the dastardly deeds that Doc Ock did to Spider-Man, I want to ask you, well, what is your favorite Doc Ock moment across all of the media? This video is going to try and focus specifically on the comics that Doc Ock appears in and what makes him so integral to becoming the nemesis of Spider-Man. But this question is for you guys across all the media. In the movies, in the games, in the TV shows, what's your favorite Doc Ock moment? You can even choose the comics too if you'd like, but what would your pick be? I'm very interested to know. Comment that down below for me, please. And I'm going to start this video for y'all right about now. Doc Ock first appeared in issue 3 of Amazing Spider-Man, and he's really the first real test for Spider-Man as a villain. Prior to this, Spider-Man fights the Vulture and Chameleon, but neither of which give him really nearly as much trouble as Doc Ock would in this issue, issue number 3. Prior to this fight, Spider-Man's all high and mighty, he's in the clouds, his head's talking about how he thinks he's the best hero ever, and then he fights Doc Ock. Doc Ock literally smacks this man, Peter Parker, around and then tosses him out of a window. Doc Ock beats Spider-Man so bad in his first encounter that Spider-Man sitting outside questioned like, damn, maybe I'm not cut out for this superhero stuff. I thought I'd be the best, but now I don't even know. Like, that's how bad Doc Ock beats Spider-Man on their very first encounter. Spider-Man will come back and thwart Doc Ock's plans, but the message is sent to the reader early. This man, Dr. Octopus, is a problem. In his very first appearance, he beats the ever-living brakes off of Spider-Man. And then in the very first annual comic of Amazing Spider-Man, Doc Ock would go on to do something that would change the game forever. He formed one of the most, if not the most popular supervillain team in comic book history in the Amazing Spider-Man Annual Number 1, the Sinister Six. Yeah, Doc Ock is actually the original creator of the Sinister Six in canon. He's the one who got people together. He's the one who brought in Kraven. He brought in Electro. He brought in Vulture. He brought in Mysterio, Sandman. He brought them all in so that they can take on Spider-Man. And then in this issue, they all go at Spider-Man one at a time. It's first, then the next, then the next. Spider-Man defeats all of them until he finally reaches Doc Ock, the final big baddie. And boy, do I mean baddie. Look at him in this outfit. That's a hunk right there, baby. Spider-Man and Doc Ock get it on in this giant fishbowl. That sounded a bit weird. Spider-Man and Doc Ock fight in this giant fishbowl until Spider-Man comes out on top. Spider-Man may have won, but the Sinister Six would go on to be probably the most notable supervillain team in comic book history. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, the Sinister Six door is a bit of a revolving door and the team is always changing, but this team, the name, the moniker, it's iconic. It's so iconic, it appears in Marvel's Spider-Man video game. It appears in the Marvel's 90s animated show, Spectacular Spider-Man show. Heck, even Sony attempted to make their own Sinister Six villain movie at a certain point before that just, blew up in smoke. It was a very stupid idea, but still it goes to show you how popular the name Sinister Six is. It holds weight. There's literally no denying this team or the moniker the Sinister Six is absurdly popular. And this is not it. This is not everything that Doc Ock's done. If you think this is it, I'd understand why you'd be like, there's no way Doc Ock is Spider-Man's nemesis. He formed the team, sure, and he beat Spider-Man one time, but a lot of people have formed teams and beaten Spider-Man once, right? I get where you're coming from. So let's go a little bit further. Doc Ock would also go on to become the Master Planner. I'm not sure if you guys have read this storyline. It's like Amazing Spider-Man issues 31 to 33. This storyline actually ends up being one of the most iconic storylines in Spider-Man history, giving us maybe one of the most iconic scenes in Spider-Man history as well. The scene when Spider-Man is trapped underneath the rubble and he's got to push it all off of himself. Yeah, that's actually all caused by Doc Ock as the Master Planner. And this scene is literally so freaking popular that Spectacular Spider-Man would actually adapt as well as the MCU. Yes, the MCU also does this scene too. Maybe not with Doc Ock explicitly, but that's where it's from. Like, this is clearly the scene. We are at most 33 issues into Amazing Spider-Man, and Doc Ock has already solidified himself, in my opinion, as Spider-Man's nemesis. Spider-Man is a very conflicted character that often questions, is he really cut out for the job? That started because of Doc Ock. Spider-Man's most infamous team that's been around for decades was created by Doc Ock. One of the most iconic moments in Spider-Man history was caused by Doc Ock. You truly cannot understate how important Doc Ock is to the Spider-Man mythos. You can't. But it goes further. I know what you're thinking. You're like, that's gotta be it. That's like, there's no way. Like, he's proven his point. No, there's still more dastardly deeds for us to go over, right? And these next two, in my opinion, could be some of the craziest we've had. Actually, they definitely are, in my opinion. Another comic book story featuring Doc Ock that I feel we must talk about is the Web of Death storyline in Spider-Man. Spider-Man is attacked by the Vulture and the Owl, right? He gets poisoned by some of their talons, and the poison enters Spider-Man's bloodstream, and he only has a few hours to live. Spider-Man tries to find a cure for himself, but nothing works. He then fights the Owl and gets an antidote from the Owl, but it turns out that the antidote is fake. Spider-Man is swinging through the city when he collapses to the ground. Doc Ock actually is the person who finds him, and he talks to Spider-Man about how he doesn't look so good. Doc Ock finds out that Spider-Man is poisoned, and he's likely going to die. So Doc Ock does what you would think Doc Ock would do. Take it upon himself to develop a cure for Spider-Man, and when it doesn't work initially, he also gives a mouth-to-mouth, "Ooh, Doc Ock is kissing Spider-Man," thus resuscitating Spider-Man back to life. Doc Ock then tells Spider-Man about how he believes that the two of them have an intertwined destiny and they're going to battle it out to the very end. He doesn't see it right that Spider-Man dies, especially by someone else's hand. Doc Ock is so evil, he wants Spider-Man in a never-ending cycle between the two of them just fighting each other. Even when he sees Spider-Man dying, that's not enough for him because he must be the one who does it to Spider-Man. That is some Nemesis material right there. But there's still more. Probably the most important one and the largest decider. It's the most recent one as well. What puts Doc Ock above all other Spider-Man villains? He banged Aunt May. Wait, what? No, that's not it. Granted, that is a very weird storyline. What makes Doc Ock Spider-Man's nemesis? He actually killed Spider-Man. He won. He did what he was supposed to do, and he set out to do all those years prior. Most Spider-Man villains could not kill him. Green Goblin has tried countless times and never could. Venom has tried to eat Spider-Man's brains, never could. Sure, Kraven killed him, but somehow the power of love and Mary Jane triumphed and Spider-Man rose out of his grave. Heck, even the Owl managed to kill Spider-Man, but Doc Ock would not allow it on his watch and he saved Spider-Man. Doc Ock actually killed Spider-Man. When Doc Ock's body was riddled with super cancer, he switches his mind with Peter Parker's. Peter dies in Doc Ock's decrepit old body while Doc Ock goes on to be the new superior Spider-Man. And after everything that happens, Doc Ock is Spider-Man and goes to this whole event. It's like 36 issues. At the end of it all, how does Spider-Man come back? How does Peter Parker come back? No one saves him. No, there's no like other villain intervening. Mary Jane's not intervening. No. Peter Parker's Spider-Man returns solely because Doc Ock isn't good enough to be Spider-Man. As Spider-Man, he found a woman and he fell in love with her. But the Green Goblin kidnaps her. Doc Ock, knowing he's not strong enough to beat the Green Goblin, he uses the last remaining fragments of Peter's mind, switches their minds, and admits to Peter Parker that he is in fact the superior Spider-Man. Look, y'all can hate Superior Spider-Man all you want. I think a lot of it is super contrived, and all the psychics not reading his mind is just dumb. Don't get me wrong, it's dumb. But this ending is freaking peak. Doc Ock is gotta be Spider-Man's nemesis, man. Like, how else are you gonna go about it? They just had so many of these storylines like this where it's just like, dude, this guy is the nemesis. Doc Ock is so freaking good. Almost every story beat he has gets adapted. We've seen Doc Ock body Spider-Man in their first encounter in various media. We've seen Doc Ock form the Sinister Six in various Spider-Man media. We've seen the scene of Spider-Man lifting the rubble over his back in various Spider-Man media. Heck, even Superior Spider-Man is adapted in the 2017 Spider-Man cartoon. If they ever adapt Doc Ock saving Peter Parker because Doc Ock thinks that their destinies are intertwined, I'll jump over the freaking moon. Like, every single story beat that this character has that I think is iconic would have been adapted because that's just how good he is. It just makes sense to adapt all this stuff. It's so fire. Spider-Man and Doc Ock have battled out for decades on decades on decades. From pretty much day one, issue number 3, all the way to the current era, Doc Ock and Spider-Man have been the ultimate adversaries. But who do you think is Spider-Man's ultimate adversary? Who is Spider-Man's nemesis in your eyes? You should let me know down below. Comment who you think is Spider-Man's nemesis. I know a lot of you guys probably say Green Goblin or Venom. Maybe even get some Carnages in there. I'm interested to hear what you guys got to say. But that's all about it is for me. I'm convinced it's Doc Ock. I very much enjoyed making this video. I've been trying to make a Doc Ock video for a while, and I just finally settled on the fact that he's the best. That's what I should make the video about Doc Ock, the fact that he's the best Spider-Man villain. So here we are. He is the nemesis. He is Spider-Man's best bad guy. If you guys want to join in and help me out, I would very much appreciate it. I got this Patreon. You can subscribe to the Patreon. Request a video. I got 2 video requests coming out later this month from some Patreon supporters. So if you want your own video by me, based on pretty much anything you want to be done, just subscribe to the Patreon and message me on Patreon. I'll respond to you. But yeah, I think that's it for me in this video. I had a blast making it for y'all. Shout outs to Doc Ock and shout outs to all you guys for supporting. I really appreciate you all. Dunk out. Peace.